Wilderness was a garden which was built in 1912 by William Wilkes to conserve a lot of different species of plants. Wilkes was born in 1843 and was a vicar at the local church, which was built in 1835. He died in 1923, but had built the Wilderness and a personal home next to the garden.
The garden was created by Wilkes, and he was particularly interested in the species of flowers, roses, particularly wanted to create a wild garden. That was what was really important to him. So there's some of the main things, and I'm sure all that wildness supports all sorts of insects and birds and things like that.
Wilkes became secretary of the Horticultural Society when it was in financial trouble, and the membership rose from 1,000 to 16,000, and was well known for his founding and creation of the Shirley poppy. After Wilkes died, the church he used to work at was bombed during the Second World War and took 3 years to rebuild it with the appropriate funds. The house in the Wilderness was turned into a care home eventually, and now the Wilderness is carefully maintained and taken care of by enthusiasts who care to preserve the heritage and rich history of the place.
You can find foxes walking around and badgers, and hopefully with the gardens that is brought back to life. The garden is maintained by a fantastic team of conservation volunteers. They're led by the head gardener of the Wilderness, and on a weekly basis a pool of like 12 volunteers support the gardeners to maintain the Wilderness. Some of the tasks are, cutting back what we got here, cutting back on the invasive species of plants, but also regenerating the Wilderness by using our own resources. The Wilderness is unique for many different reasons. The first one is probably the history of the garden. It was created more than 100 years ago by the former Secretary of the Royal Horticultural Society, William Wilkes. Mm-hmm. We have the Bog Garden is a site of metropolitan importance for nature and conservation because there are 4 different types of sphagnum moss, and is one of the only few remnants in all London. It's an accessible garden. Everyone can come here, walk around. We've got a path, it's wheelchair friendly, and is accessible to the community. Wilkes' legacy is maintained by introducing the young generation to the story of the Wilderness. And wherever you walk around the Wilderness, you can find an interpretation panel that investigate the story of the garden, and history of the garden is brought back to life through the people who experience the place here.